Hello and welcome to the Impact Zone podcast. We are back again to talk about TNA wrestling shenanigans, and we are looking at the final preview of Sacrifice. So we're finally here. I've actually put up a fair amount of the predictions and whatnot as well the other day, because I thought actually they're probably only going to put on some matches on the pre-show or the countdown show, whatever you want to call it. I do not care what people want to call it, the buy-in, whatever. I don't care. For the countdown show, thus far we've only got one match, though I'm feeling like one other match is going to be on the countdown show. I don't know which one it's going to be. Probably actually the Knockouts tag title match, but we'll get to that in just a second. First Class is going to take on Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. Octagon Jr., this is his first appearance in TNA, I believe. And Laredo Kid's just effectively a jobber, so we kind of feel like we know where that's going. I feel like First Class is probably winning that match. So yes, I do feel like that is a pretty foregone conclusion. I don't know whether to go for talking about the Knockouts match next, because again, it is kind of like, well, oh well, kind of thing as well. But I guess, yeah, let's cover this Knockouts tag team match here. Spitfire versus the Elegance Duo plus the Personal Concierge. So yeah, like, I do feel like there is, like, quite a bit of, like, it did really feel like this rivalry has been just dragged on for so freaking long, and it's like, again, it does feel like, well, like, why are you continuing it at a certain point? But again, this is kind of like, well, I don't know. Like, at a certain point, the three of them surely have to be able to beat Spitfire, but, like, at a certain point, like, again, it's like, again, there's no friggin' teams for them to fight, so there's no, like, even if they beat Spitfire next month, yeah, sure, they get the rematch or whatever it is, but then what do they do after that? Well, they've got nothing to do after that, because there's no friggin' other teams in this friggin' division. So it's useless in putting the titles over. In fact, it's useless having the titles. I've said this a million times. I'm going to have to say it a million more. But it's ridiculous. Like I say, it's just I'm sick of talking about these titles. And I think people are sick of talking about them. And I want the division to be good. But you can only work with what you've got type thing. And again, well, perhaps we did hear a bit of chatter, or heard a bit of chatter about, like, them bringing in more knockouts, but both the tag division and the singles division need more wrestlers in it. So it's like, well, you need both, not just some tag team people, you need some singles people too. But yeah, like, I don't know whether, like, to predict this one for the Elegance Duo. I guess I have to in some regard, because at least then it gives them something to do for another month or two or something. I don't know. It's so silly, but yeah, I don't really. That's why, again, I feel like it's probably going to be pushed to the pre-show. Not that these girls don't deserve some time. Certainly they do, but it's just, like, the division as itself is just, like, no one cares. It's the ultimate piss break match because, again, the division is, like, two teams right now. So, like, who cares? Like, sure, they're going to flip-flop the titles or whatever. Sure, whatever. Who cares? Yeah, but anyway, but not only that you need to just bring in these people, you need to be able to feature them. And as I've said, I don't know how many millions of times as well, it just is like there is no time or not enough time to feature everyone and everything. And that is why, again, they need to have more stuff on, like Explosion. Things that didn't have the time on the main show or weren't good enough for the main show or were just effectively, some jobber or effectively some jobber against some guy, like that needs the win sometimes. Yes, that is a little bit sad that it's just like these are the matches that you kind of get on that show. But again, it's like, well, it's what we needed to help tell the story between here and here sometimes. So just fill it with more stuff. All right, moving on to the last one, Kazarian versus Macklin. Now, I kind of feel like Kazarian's going to win because I feel like there's going to be some sort of distraction from EY and Co., the Northern Armory. And it's crazy. The Northern Armory, like as a trio or whatever, they've had one match. Like one match. And like since turning heel, Sinner and Saint, or the team that was Sinner and Saint, they haven't had hardly any tag team matches. Like, dude, send these guys out to have a friggin' match. One time, here or there. Get them some wins under their belt so that they can, what? Eventually challenge for the tag team titles, maybe, even if they're gonna lose. Because of this, then the Hardys have what? Opponents. What? Opponents? They need those? Yes, they need opponents. And they've basically beaten everyone else that's in the division. So friggin' give them some opponents to friggin' face. Instead of just being like, oh, well, what are we going to do with them next? Oh, we don't know. Like, they don't need a match on this card, I guess. But still, like, if you're not, like, they're having a run-in in this, probably. But if they're not having a match at some point, it's like, well, what are you doing? You need to give these guys the time of the day so that they can be featured. And maybe that'll happen soon. But, like, based on the track record thus far, it's like, dude, get these guys in there so that they can perform and so that people can invest some time and some energy and whatnot in them. You cannot have guys just being there and, you can make them feel threatening very quickly, very easily, yes, but again, if you actually invest more time and more energy in them, it will feel like, oh, well, these guys actually have a chance, rather than, oh, well, they've just won a match or a couple of matches this month or whatever it is, so that they can challenge for the Hardys this month and then lose and then go back to doing whatever it is that they're going to do after that. Like, if you actually invest time and energy into these guys for a few months or whatever it is, it starts to feel like, oh, these guys might be becoming something, might be becoming real challengers, and they might still lose, but you at least have that perspective of people getting like, oh shit, maybe we'll take these guys seriously, whatever. But yeah, like, that's how I feel. Like, you could sort of put it the other way, but again, I kind of feel like they're still kind of trying to push Kaz in like certain little ways by giving him little wins here and there and whatnot by hook or by crook, so that he can continue to like look at becoming like a more legitimate, contender to the world title. So yeah, like, I do feel like that is something that they have done. I don't know whether I should say they've done it well, but like, it does feel like they've at least had that, like, well, we've got to keep him somewhat strong mindset. Like, so, and I honestly, in some ways, it's like, dude, pull the friggin' trigger, like, or, not pull the trigger, but pull the trigger on him having this friggin' match already. Like, pull the trigger on him cashing in his call your shot thing. Like, it's been so friggin' long that he's held that thing. It is ridiculous. It is time for, you to wrap that up. And we haven't seen anything from JBL since whenever it was, Genesis or whatever it was. And it's like, well, what's happening with that? Like, again, like, dude, like, and there was no real story progression
like along that. Like, it's like, what is going on? No one knows. Someone tell us, you know, or give us an inkling of what's going on. Like, what, like, I don't know. But yeah, maybe one day we'll find out. But again, I get that it is everything takes time, but it's like if you just drop a story, or not drop a story, but if you like don't feature something, it's like, oh, well, it feels like this has kind of been forgotten about or whatever. Like, and again, that is perhaps because, again, well, there's just not enough time to feature everything or everyone or whatever. Again, another reason for you to find more space on your other show that you've got to friggin' broadcast some of the other stuff that doesn't get the friggin' time that it should. Instead of just being like, oh, well, never mind, or we'll put it on our Twitter or whatever it is, and that's it. I love TNA so friggin' much, but it's just like I would love in some ways to be in control of some of this stuff, or at least like in the ear of somebody is like, dude, why aren't we doing this? Like, why not? Like, seriously, like, what are we doing? What? You know, but yeah. It is what it is. And the guys and the gals, they're doing the best of what they can do with what they can do. And like I said, with like Tasha Steelz, I like Tasha a lot. She's a great character. She's got like a lot of charisma and whatnot. And I still don't feel like she's really like really hit that pinnacle of where she can be. You know, she's been a bit too busy putting everyone else over type thing. Realistically. So again, you could realistically still do a lot with her. Finally, you know, finding her way back to the title or whatever it is, you know. So, I don't know when that would be, but or whatever. But yeah, you can still feel like you could do something like that. And she's been a very loyal soldier, you know. Like, why not, like, reward her for fucking, you know, sticking around and sticking under contract and all of this? She could have gone here, she could have gone there, you know. And she hasn't, especially considering that she hasn't ever really, like, except for that one big run where she was champion, hasn't really been booked all that well. And even then, she wasn't booked all that well. But still, yeah, I don't know. And I kind of feel like that's why I sort of fell on certain sides with certain things, like with the Santana match and whatnot, because it's like, oh, well, he has all that backup. Their promo or sit down promo or whatever this week was pretty darn personal, and like it doesn't feel like it will be over at this point, and it starts to feel like, well, what are you going to do with Santana? You need to kind of tell a story, but you have to be kind of careful where you go with it and how you tell that story and that sort of thing. You know, I don't know, but yeah. It will be interesting, hopefully, and yeah, wait and see. But yeah, guys, that is it, I think. Maybe, like I said, one of these matches might be on the pre-show. I'm pretty sure we know which one, the piss break match, effectively. Because again, maybe not, because they might, like I said, they might be bringing in some more female wrestlers. But again, like, so what? Like, are they going to find the time for those people? I don't know. Like, again, really feels like a sticky situation. And a kind of weird situation this week with Ryan Nemeth and with Hammerstone. Like Hammerstone's contract had lapsed. And it's like, I guess, again, perhaps this is a match that happened like month ago or whatever it was at the last tapings. So I don't know, maybe this was just him coming in to do a favor or whatever it was. So, I don't know, or just to try to get himself back out there and get back seen and saying, oh, yes, this guy worked a main event, you know, whatever.
And maybe that was also them being like, hey, you want to re-sign or whatever, so fair friggin' enough. We'll treat you like a big deal, like you are, like that's what they were trying to do. They brought him back to be like, hey, here, and whatnot. So that, like, I would like for him to stick around, but I don't know whether he will or whatever. Like, it's hard to say, isn't it? Like, hard to figure out whether you're going to keep him around or not. I would like him to, but that's up to him and up to management and whatever else. Ryan Nemeth seemingly taking Nick Nemeth's automatic rematch for the title. I don't think that's real, but whatever. Does anyone really care? He's probably going to get a rematch anyway, so it's fine. And, like, when's that? Probably Rebellion, maybe. See. Don't think he's winning it, honestly. Really don't. But whatever. We'll wait and see what he does after that, or when it is, or whatever. But yeah, guys, that is Sacrifice, fully previewed. We'll be doing the review afterwards. And yeah, we'll be looking ahead up to, I believe, Rebellion. I believe it is the next show. I can't remember, actually. I'm terrible at remembering sometimes what's next, because they actually changed some of the date, or not the dates, but some of when things are actually happening. No, it's Unbreakable. Unbreakable's the next pay-per-view, or whatever you want to call it. Which is, yeah, actually we talked about it being really close to Rebellion, which is kind of weird. Again, like, I don't love those very quick builds to shows, especially when it's meant to be like the big shows. They could have pushed it back a few weeks, and I think it would have been better. So, I don't know. Or something. I don't know, but then you've got, like, or just maybe after, I don't know. No, really tough, that one. But yeah, maybe just something else, just random tapings or whatever. Or just live TV or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed, and hope you will join me again in another one.